It is crazy. Okay, we're back one more time here at Southwest 32nd and Plass. We're going to try to give you a quick recap as to what has happened on really a very unusual Thursday morning here, October the 11th, 2018. Around 3 o'clock this morning, Topeka police were on a patrol in this area. They were looking for people who have been breaking into vehicles in this area. There's been a rash of car burglaries in this area. Police then located a man walking around 33rd and McVicker. They had reason to believe that this person just seemed out of place, just something strange. So they went around, turned around their patrol car, which was a marked patrol car. They turned their car around to talk to this person. He was wearing a baseball cap, a backpack, and there's just a few other things he had with him that were pretty distinguishable. Well, the man took off running through these houses here, this neighborhood here, to the north of 33rd Street, just to the east of McVicker, and police attempted to locate this person. Couldn't find him right off the bat. A few minutes later, they did find him. He was back in these apartments back here. I believe they're called the Briarwood Apartments here in the 3200 block of Southwest McVicker. Police then tried to apprehend this person, at least to talk to him. Again, he was lurking and prowling, if nothing else. Also, he was also eluding officers. He didn't obey the officers' commands to stop. Took off running, and then officers located him back here in this parking lot, just back here to my west. Police officers began to close in on this person, who all of a sudden opened fire on the officers. There was 2 officers there at that time. Both of them were uninjured. They were not hit. They took cover, and then they returned fire. There was no reason to believe at that point that this person was struck by gunfire. Officers then blocked off the street. Again, this happened right around 3 o'clock this morning. This whole area was blocked off with crime scene tape. I was down earlier in the pre-dawn hours, and it was completely dark down here, folks. It was hard to see anything. And it was down about the 3200 block of Southwest McVicker where I was, where this crime scene tape had been extended. And officers kept looking for this person who had shot at the officers. The police were looking for this person, couldn't find him. They continued their search. Jardine Middle School and Elementary School was placed on secure campus. That was just about a block and a half from where we're standing now, over at 2600 Southwest 33rd. And everything was kind of somewhat back to normal, although the crime scene was still going on. Then at about 9:45 this morning, officers were down here at the south end of the crime scene there, and again in the 3200 block of Southwest McVicker, when a person made himself known to officers. Police then began to think this person was possibly someone they wanted to talk to, and at that point they were attempting to take this person into custody, and actually attempting to put handcuffs on him in connection with this earlier situation, we believe, this morning, when that individual then fled from the officers, broke free, fled between houses, jumped the fence behind the apartments over here, and when officers pursued, that individual then pointed the handgun at him. The officers in this case returned fire, or actually fired at this person. It was unknown if that person, the suspect in this case, actually fired a weapon. And at that point, the police did fire when the weapon was drawn on them, pointed at them. The person was hit at least one time, maybe multiple times. Injuries were not at this point considered to be life-threatening, but he was taken by AMR ambulance to local hospital in Stormont Vale for treatment of his gunshot wounds. Now, right now, he's believed to be in stable condition, but we'll try to get an update later to see exactly how he's doing. Lieutenant Andrew Badel here said it wasn't known for sure if this is the same person that they were looking for regarding the other incident that happened around 3 o'clock this morning, where this individual fired a gun. The handgun that this person pointed at officers in the second incident around 9:45, that handgun has been recovered, and now they'll be doing testing to see if that's the same weapon that had been used to fire upon officers again around 3 o'clock this morning. So there are 2 different incidents. One about 3 o'clock this morning, one about 9:45 this morning. And that's the story here. Neighbors are basically feeling like they're kind of trapped in here, but they can actually get out. Officers said if they want to get out, they'll be glad to help them out and let them out in and out of their residence here. And we are again right here standing in the 2100 block of Southwest 32nd. So we are just about a block to the east of McVicker. So crazy morning again. I hope that all made sense. Again, if nothing else, just know that there were 2 different incidents. One happened around 3 o'clock when officers were pursuing a person they were suspecting of possibly lurking and prowling at the very least. Also, maybe there had been some break-ins reported, including one overnight here in this area, recent break-ins, or burglaries of cars, vehicles. And then that person, as that person fled from officers, he was a male, he then fired upon the officers. Didn't strike him, thankfully. Officers returned fire, not believed to be, it was not believed that they hit the person at that point. But officers continue to hold the crime scene. It's a big area here. It's over probably at least, I don't know, several blocks if you counted both directions. And again, the situation was just being investigated until about 9:45 when somebody showed up here on the south end of the crime scene, 3200 block in McVicker, and made himself known to police. The police wanted to take the person into custody for some questioning. We're getting ready to put handcuffs on. The individual broke free, took off running between houses to the west, and at that point, police followed him, and that individual then turned around, pointed a weapon at the officers, and the officers fired upon the individual, striking him at least once. We don't know the severity of the injuries at this point. They're not believed to be life-threatening, but we will try to get more with that information soon. This is still a very fresh story, and we don't have all those details yet. Check cgonline.com for more information on this story. It becomes available. We will sign off from now. This is Phil Anderson for cgonline.com, reporting from 32nd and Plaza in the Broward area of southwest Topeka.